Hello, Year 3. Okay, it's time for our final English session today about our myth. So it should be Tuesday, the 26th of January. And what we're going to do today is we're going to look at editing, redrafting, and proofreading our myth. Now, we are going to do a guided one of these. So what you're going to have to do is each time you might have to pause me and then come back to me after you've done a bit of work on your myth, all right? Now, the reason we're doing it like that is because sometimes children get a bit confused. They think that redrafting, editing, and proofreading are all the same things, but they're not. So we will go through and have a little look and see the different things we need to do. So before we start, the first thing we need to do is read the toolkit and remind ourselves of all the things that we need to include to write an entertaining Greek myth for our classmates. So we need to include some paragraphs, a rich vocabulary, conjunctions, adverbals of time, place, and pause, some speech in there as well. And we need those three things: inverted commas, start on a new line, and some punctuation before the closing inverted comma. We also need some short sentences for effect, ellipses, and some other techniques as well. Okay, so those are all the things that we need to remember that we need to have included in our myth. So let's go through to the next page. Now, first of all, we are going to read our myth out loud to see if it makes sense. Now, you can read this to somebody else in your house, or you can read this to yourself. It's up to you entirely, but you need to read it out loud, not in your head. Okay, so you're going to go off and do that now. And while you're doing that, you're going to pause me and then come back when you're ready. Okay, so off you go. I'll see you in a minute. Right, are you back? So you've been away and you read your myth out loud. Now, some of you might have noticed that a section of your writing didn't quite make sense. So that happens sometimes, it's not a problem. So what you're going to do is you're going to redraft that section. And remember, redrafting means writing out that section of work again. Obviously, not exactly the same as it was before. So what you're going to do is you're going to go and redraft that whole section. Now, there are three ways you can do that. If you're on a computer, it's really easy. You just delete off the section that didn't make any sense and rewrite it. If you are writing on paper, you could rewrite that section of work underneath your myth, okay? So you could do that, or you could rewrite that section on a different piece of paper and then stick the piece of paper over like a flap over your original section of work that you've just rewritten. Remember, as I said before, don't just rewrite what you've written. Make sure you improve it, so make sure your work makes sense. The other thing you might notice is that you might notice that a piece of your writing doesn't include all the toolkit features. It could do with more fronted verbals and better vocabulary choice, or you haven't included in paragraphs in that section. So then you're going to rewrite your work again, and you're going to include more of the toolkit features. I've written suspense there, because if you remember in the previous lesson, we talked about suspense, so you might want to include that too. Okay, so you know how to redraft now. So if you need to go and do that, pause me here, off you go, and then unpause me when you come back. If you read your work through and you think it's okay, I've already done that, then come with me to the next slide. Okay, so this is editing your work. This is not the same as redrafting because you're not doing a big section of writing. So what you're going to look at here is you're going to look to how to improve a sentence or a word. So what I've got down here is I've got the lion ache slithered away, spewing balls of fire. I did have in my first sentence, the lion ache slithered away. And I thought, that's not got much imagery, it's a bit boring. How can I improve it? What can I put down to improve it? So I use this word mat, which you have got. It's in last week's pack, and you've also got the mythical creature word bank, which is from week 1. So you can use both of those to help you improve your writing. So look down here, and I went down and I found the word spewed. And I thought, oh, that sounds really good. So instead of writing the lion ache slithered away, I edited my work and put spewed balls of fire because I thought that creates a better image in the reader's head. So what I'd like you to do now is have a look at your work and see if you can edit any sentences or any words. In fact, I'd like you to go through, don't just do one sentence or word, make sure you do at least 3. You might think I need to do more than that. I could have also put a fronted verbal here, but I didn't. I just put the imagery on the end just to use as an example. All right, so you're going to pause me now and remember you need to edit your work so you improve at least 3 sentences a word. Don't forget to use your word banks. Okay, pause me, off you go. Right, have you done that? Fantastic. So we're on to our next activity, which is proofreading your writing. Now, I split proofreading into two different slides, so two different sections. So the first one is looking at punctuation, and the second one is looking at spelling. So when you're proofreading, you're looking for simple errors. So it might mean you missed out some punctuation or you spelt some words incorrectly. But to make it easier for you, we're going to separate that into two different slides, okay? So the first one we're looking at is punctuation. Now, you must have a full stop at the end of every sentence and capital letters at the start of every sentence. And also, you need capital letters for proper nouns, that's names, names of people and places, etc. This is really important. We're in year 3 now, so we really do need to have got this sorted. So you're going to stop me now, and everyone is just going to go read through their myth very quickly and check that. Okay, you're back already? Well done. Now, the next thing we're going to check for is different kinds of punctuation. There are obviously lots of punctuation, like exclamation marks, commas, after fronted verbals, or you might have question marks as well. However, we're not going to concentrate on those today, although if you find that you're missing some, then please put them in. We're going to look at apostrophes for contractions. So quite often, children forget to put an apostrophe in a contraction. You remember, a contraction is when you put two words together, some letters pop out, and you put an apostrophe in to show where the letters have popped out. So here there's an apostrophe in couldn't to show that the O has popped out in not. Okay, so check you've got those. Okay, quite often people very good at squashing two words together, but they're not so good at putting the apostrophe to show where the letter has popped out or letters. You also need apostrophes for possession. So if something belongs to something, so like Yanni's horse, I put Yanni apostrophe S because the horse belongs to him. Do not use an apostrophe for plurals. I've seen lots of children who have been putting apostrophes for plurals, so they have more than one thing. So for example, somebody might think they're monsters as an apostrophe for the S. It does not. Do not put an apostrophe for plural. Okay, you must remember that's very important. So if you think you need to go and check that, stop me here and off you go. Okay, right, you've checked that? Excellent. So the next bit of punctuation we're going to check for is speech punctuation, because that's what we've been learning about. So you need to go back over your myth and have a look and check that you've got inverted commas around all direct speech. Okay, that's what someone says. And each time someone else talks, start on a new line. Also very important, you can slightly indent it as well. And then finally, you must have some punctuation before the closing inverted comma. So that's before the 99, all right? It could be a comma, it could be a full stop, it could be an exclamation mark, it could be a question mark. But there must be some punctuation before that closing inverted comma. Right, pause me here again, off you go, and I'll see you in a minute. Okay, you done that? Well done. So the next bit of proofreading is checking your spellings. Now, you've got some word maps here that are available on Padlet. If you can't find them, you can download them from the internet. They're really easy to find. And these are to check your year 1 and year 2 common exception words. And you can have a look at the 3 and 4 common exception words. Now, we haven't learnt how to spell all of these words in here, but we've learnt how to spell quite a lot. So the ones that we have learnt to spell, you can check. It's really important that you try and check these and get them right. Just quickly, quite a few people have a problem with the ed suffix for putting words into the past tense. So if I was going to write something like jumped, I'm not going to write just a D at the end. It's got to be an ed for that suffix. Don't forget the E. If you're not sure how to spell a word or it doesn't look right, use a dictionary to help you. You can use internet search engine or just use a normal dictionary. Okay. If you're working on certain spelling patterns that your teacher or Mr. Ali has sent you, ensure that those are spelled correctly too, right? So I think everyone is going to check that. So you're all going to pause me and go and check your spellings in your work. Okay, off you go. Right, have you done that? Fantastic. So there's not many more things to do. In fact, we've finished most of our redrafting, editing and proofreading. The next thing you need to do is you need to read through your myth again to check you haven't missed anything. Quite often children read through their work once and they come away and they think they've seen everything or checked everything and changed things, but they've missed bits, so you need to read through it again. Finally, if you have time and you want to, you can publish your myth. So you could turn it into a book or, as I say, use a computer. It's up to you entirely, but only if you've got time. So if you haven't got time, don't worry, it's not that important. Right, you've worked really hard on your myths. Your teachers are looking forward to seeing them all. Okay, so well done. Congratulations for finishing your myths, and that's it for today. See you soon. Bye bye.